Here are some of the important differences between a controlling husband and a husband who leads.
So there's a big difference between leading and controlling your woman.
And all honestly, when you're around a masculine man, you should be able to turn your brain off.
Let's cut the bull. Most men don't want a partner. They want a possession. They don't want love. They want control.
A lot of women say they want leaders, but they always end up with the controlling type.
There's a big difference between masculine energy and insecurity disguised as control.
Here are some of the important differences between a controlling husband and a husband who leads. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first say this. Healthy masculine energy is a leading energy. It is not controlling. Leading is a healthy masculine energy, and control is a wounded masculine energy. And they couldn't be more different. A masculine husband who is leading first leads himself. What does that look like? He is consistently committing to his own inner growth, his own inner healing, his own inner transformation. It is not just about hitting the gym or taking care of what goes inside of his body, taking courses on how to improve his career. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but that is not necessarily how he works on himself. So if you want to identify a man who is leading himself, ask him questions like, what are some of the things that you're doing right now that is helping your inner growth, your inner healing, and your inner transformation? Those are questions that a man in his healing masculine energy will never run from. In fact, he'll run toward to answer. And so because this man is leading himself, it's then and only then that he can lead his wife, his children, and the world around him. And so he leads primarily from the example that he sets for himself. And that builds the trust between him and his wife, him and his children. And him being along on this healing journey provides him the confidence to continue to step forward and lead, never to control. A man who is in his healing masculine energy never controls because he doesn't have to. But a man who has to control is a man who has not done his work. He's cutting corners because he himself is out of control from the inside out. If you want to know more, drop a comment below.
Men leading or controlling women in relationship or marriage. That is what we are going to be talking about in this video today. Hello guys, welcome back. So guys, a lot of men are out there complaining that women do not allow them to lead in their relationship or in their marriage. While on the other hand, women are out there complaining that men are controlling them in relationship. According to relationship experts, they say that men are supposed to be the leaders in the relationship while women follows. But according to women that are out there complaining, they are saying that men, instead of leading, they are controlling them in their relationship. So guys, we're going to be looking at different video and how men or women are dropping their opinion concerning this particular topic. Are men leading in that relationship or they are controlling women? So guys, without wasting too much, let's dive into this video.
So there's a big difference between leading and controlling your woman. A woman wants to be led. She doesn't want to be controlled. You don't tell a woman what she can and can't do. At the end of the day, a woman knows, or should know what she can and can't do in a relationship. If a woman fuck with you, she gonna really respect you and shit like that. She gonna, be like, you know what, my partner wouldn't like that, so I'm not gonna do that. But as far as like, you telling a person how they can dress or where they can go and do all that type of shit, like that's lame as hell to me, personally. I'm not controlling nobody. Now, I'm a man. I definitely lead you, baby. And I'm going to lead you in the right places. But I'm not going to control you. Never that. For real.
Let's cut the bull. Most men don't want a partner. They want a possession. They don't want love. They want control. They don't want to build with you. They want to break you so you'll settle for whatever they offer. You ever notice how a man will chase you hard until he finally gets you? The moment you let your guard down, suddenly he's inconsistent. The attention slows down, the good morning texts disappear, because it was never about you. It was about winning. Once he feels like he owns you, the effort stops. Men love women they can manipulate. That's why they prefer a woman who's naive, insecure, or soft. Because they know a woman who understands her worth is a threat. That's why the moment you set a boundary, demand respect, or refuse to tolerate their bull, suddenly you're too difficult, too masculine, and too independent. They don't want to be men. They want to be pampered toddlers with unlimited access to your body, your time, and your emotional labor. They want you to pay half the bills, but still do 100% of the cooking, the cleaning, and the child care. They expect you to be exhausted from working and running a household, yet still be horny on demand when they decide they need sex. They want you to be emotionally available, heal their traumas, but when you need support, suddenly you're too emotional. And let's talk about cheating. Men don't just cheat, they mentally and emotionally destroy a woman in the process. They will lie to you for months and gaslight you into thinking you're crazy for suspecting anything at all. And then the second they get caught, it's your fault. Suddenly, you weren't giving them enough attention. You were nagging. You weren't sexy enough. No accountability, no remorse, just psychological warfare to make you question your reality. And here's the biggest truth they don't want you to know. Most of them don't even like women. They like the access. They like the comfort. They like what you do for them. That's why they'll drain you, destroy your confidence, and call you damaged when you finally leave. They never planned on loving you. They planned on using you. So to the women watching this, wake up and stop making excuses for these men. Stop believing the lies. You are not crazy, you are not unworthy, and you are not asking for too much. You're just finally seeing through the bull. To the men who feel attacked, if this message offends you, that's because it applies. And remember, ladies, accept nothing less than queen treatment.
A lot of women say they want leaders, but they always end up with the controlling type. So let me clarify what the differences are. Control says do this because I said so. Leadership says follow me because you trust me. Control demands obedience. Leadership earns respect. The big difference is a controlling man, he feels secure when he has power. But a leader, he creates space so nobody feels empowered. One of them is rooted in ego, the other one is rooted in responsibility. True leadership knows how to serve, knows how to listen before he tells you what to do. It always means setting direction on where to go, but always taking in her perspective, her voice into consideration. Because at the end of the day, it's about protecting the relationship and not policing a person. A lot of women always end up choosing these controlling, possessive type of men because they think that they care. And it's not to say they don't care, but they care more about how you make them feel, not how you feel with them. Because if a man has to control you to keep you, he was never leading you. That's not healthy masculinity because it doesn't dominate, it guides.
As a man, women are always telling us to take the lead, but then when we do, they call us controlling. So what's the answer? Simply put, taking the lead is about providing a confident direction. You know what you're talking about, and you're making her life easier. While being controlling is trying to tell her what she's going to do or not going to do and forcing your way on her. For example, if you're trying to make plans, instead of saying, I don't want you to do that, you're going to do this, say this. Hey, are you free? I made a great plan for us and I'd love to see you. She doesn't need a dictator or coach. She needs a man who can take the wheel and make simple decisions to make her life easier. So stop being passive and provide direction. That's leadership.
Hey, all honestly, when you're around a masculine man, you should be able to turn your brain off. Like when you're with a real man that leads, know where he's going, know what he wants to do, has everything under control, under his, delegation, you should be able to turn your brain off and not really think for real. Like, yes, it's important for you to make decisions and, be in the mix as well. But when you're with someone that knows how to lead, you can just really tap into your soft girl era, your femininity. Like, you can be feminine around him 24/7. And I think as men, we should all strive just to lead. Like, fuck all the asking. You want to do this? Let's go here. No. We're going to delegate. We're going to be assertive. We're going to be dominant. Yes, we respect our women's, choices and things like that. But at the end of the day, we are going to take all the stress. We are going to handle things. We're going to take control with assertiveness. You know what I mean? And it's not even like red pill energy. You feel me? I'm not saying like be controlling, have her be I'm saying like, hey, when you're around someone that actually leads, you don't have to do anything. As the girl, right? If you have a man that doesn't know how to do these things, then yeah, you're going to be thinking for y'all both.
A lot of men are obsessed with this idea of being dominant in life, in the bedroom, in relationships, but they don't get it right. They're making a huge mistake. There's selfish dominance, and then there's service dominance. I want to be dominant with a service mindset. Let me explain what I mean. Selfish dominance is being a bully. It's the garbage boss who does not care about you. They're not attentive to you. They're using you to get what they selfishly want. No one likes that, And I don't think you want to become that. Service dominance is being an actual good leader. Good leaders are chosen. People actually want them to lead because they're valuable. Because when they're in control, their needs get met. All these guys want someone who's so submissive to them. Don't force someone to be submitting to you. Be so great when you're in control that they surrender to you willingly. When you build your competence and you're emotionally attentive and you move with love, trying to actually benefit and care about the person, people want you to take the lead. People want to trust you because you take care of them. But people don't put in that work and they just try to force the position, and that's not it. If you have to force your dominant role, you have to force being the one in control in a partnership, you don't really have it. A lot of men play this weird act where they're in the bedroom and they're trying to be this like mean person who's really selfish and only cares about their pleasure. That's not being dominant in a way that anybody likes, man. Because the attractive way to be dominant is almost in a way to be submissive, because you are actively trying to serve and pay attention to the other person. It just so happens that when you are doing what I want, I'm commanding, you know, and that person know that you doing that is also for them. They like that. They enjoy that. There's trust. Too many men want to be this leader, be this dominant figure, and they're going about it by trying to become a weird, disconnected bully. That's not what you want. Now, of course, a lot of gender norms, patriarchy thinking that's all wrapped up in even wanting to be the dominant person or be in control. And you don't have to subscribe to that. This is just for the fellas out there who really are trying and wanting that. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to go that route, I encourage the reframe of, I want to be dominant because when I take control, this person who I love has a better experience. I'm doing this not so I feel powerful. I'm doing it because when I hold power, the person I care about is benefited. That's why I'm doing this.
Listen to this. Man, let's have a discussion. Someone's gonna get their feelings over this conversation, but I'm gonna ask you with transparency. Are you looking to lead or are you looking for control? I realize that a lot of men say that these women aren't allowed them to leading or allow them to lead is because they're not looking to lead, they're looking to control. It's a big difference. When we say the term submission, submission only means the willingness to allow a man to lead. So some of you guys got this submission thing wrong. Y'all think that means the willingness to be in control. You sick if you think like that, man. That's not a normal thinking. No one wants to control a human. We're talking about a human, right? And that's not what we're doing. You sound like a master or something. That's crazy. Yes, a man should be a woman's king, but you have to give us something to see as a king. A woman will not look at you as a king just because you're a man. Let's establish that. But in the same narrative, you'll meet a woman where we have these discussions. I'll say, men, a woman will always submit to a man that she deems is worthy to be submitted to. But I'm going to logically tell you this statement, whether you like it, if you want to hear it or not. Do you want to lead a woman or do you want to control a woman? Because some of your idea of the term submission is control. Some of your idea of submission is lead. But if you have the idea, which is logical, leading, but you got to give a woman something that she wants to be led by. You can't be just talking, and you ain't doing nothing. A woman is not going to follow you just because of the fact that you're talking. She will follow you when you're leading. You can say absolutely nothing to a woman and she will follow your every move because of the fact that she know that you're leading. And you can yell at the top of your lungs and the woman will never follow you because she knows you're just talking. That's the difference. So let's get that word out of our mind. Control and leading, two different things. So that word submission means the willingness to allow to lead. Don't let that go over your head.
There's a big difference between masculine energy and insecurity disguised as control. A truly masculine man doesn't tell his girl what she can post on social media, where she can go, who she can talk to. A grounded, secure man is going to lead through calm. He's going to lead through confidence. Insecure men mistake possession for protection. So if you're the type of guy who tells his girl what she can post or where she can go or who she can talk to because you think you're trying to protect her, let's be honest here. You're insecure that she's going to leave you. You're insecure that she's going to find someone else while she's out and about and you're going to get left behind. But by trying to control a woman, you actually end up pushing her away. Nobody likes to be controlled. Nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes to feel like they're a possession. Masculine energy isn't about being dominant. It's about being centered. It's about being grounded. It's about being consistent. And it's about being confident in what you bring to the table. If she feels safe around you, if she feels comfortable around you, that's when you know that you're leading right.
I'm having a field day with these guys in my comments lately. Welcome to the Daddy Academy. I don't like getting into it. I don't like drama, although sometimes I like a little drama. But let's get into this, okay? Women complain about men leading them. Not true at all. Women don't want an incompetent, emotionally immature baby man leading them or trying to lead them, okay? Women love a masculine man who's about his purpose. He's empathetic. He understands, he has emotional intelligence. He understands the interdynamics between men and women. That man, a woman will let blindly lead her, allows her just to sit in her feminine. And this is 2024. Okay, the dynamics aren't like total polarity. Like, women help lead too. It's not like totally gospel, but a woman will trust a man who she can fucking trust. Who wants to let a loser lead the parade? This isn't the loser parade, okay? You want the daddy leading the parade, okay? Like, this is just like, these are like the excuses that I hear, the excuses. And like, I'm not anti-men. I'm anti-loser energy men. Like, you guys have to look at yourself and realize, okay, my success in dating isn't going well. Why? What's the common denominator here? Okay, not women as a gender. Maybe it's me as a one singular man. What am I doing? What energy am I putting out there? Okay, that's not working. Women want a man to lead, but it has to be a man that she believes in. She has to believe in this man, believe in his purpose, believe in his ability to lead, believe in his masculine energy. Okay, and I've said this before, you don't have to be super macho man. Okay, there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum of masculinity, and women, like men all across that spectrum. But the polarity in how he is relating and communicating with his woman needs to be in such a way that she feels safe and welcomed and understood. In that case, she will let that man lead every single fucking day.
There's a big difference between a man who leads and a man who controls. And you can feel that difference deep within your soul. A man who controls moves like a blade with no intention. He's driven by fear. He's driven by the ghosts that stalk his mind at night and by the belief that if he doesn't grip tightly enough, he's gonna lose everything. Control is the bruise that's left by insecurity. It's the shadow that speaks louder than his love ever could. But a man who leads, he's different. He walks with a quiet certainty. And that's not because he wants to dominate, but it's because he's focused on self-mastery. His words don't cut you, they clarify. His presence doesn't suffocate you, it steadies. He builds a life in the way an artisan shapes a stone. It's with intention, awareness, with both hands open. Ultimately, a controlling man seeks obedience, while a leading man inspires alignment. A controlling man fears your freedom, while a leading man honors it, because he sees your power as part of his purpose, not a threat to it. Control creates unions that feel like cages, while leadership creates connections where two souls choose each other from strength, not fear. One demands, one invites. One collapses under pressure, one becomes the foundation you can actually build a future on. And in the end, you'll always feel the difference, because control takes from you. But leadership calls the strongest parts of you to rise.
So guys, let's take some few comments and see how people are reacting to this particular topic. So the first person here said, controlling punishes, leaders instruct, encourage, inspire, and reward, but both direct outcome. Controller blame you for failure. Leaders supply all you need to succeed, and they own all failures. There's a huge distinction of difference. So the other person here said, thank you. So this person is thanking the creator. So he said, if you want to lead, you have to show someone why they should want to follow you and trust you. If you are only following out of fear, it's not leadership. So this other person said this. So this person is referring to this video, to the particular video. So he said this, meaning the person really agreed with the point that the person gave, the creator gave. So he said, she said, a true leading man knows that his wife input, opinion, needs, and desire are fundamental to the success of their lives and marriage. Okay, guys, let's continue.
A controlling man criticizes with no direction. He nitpicks just to feel like he's in control. A man who's leading you in love, he'll hold you accountable, but hand you the solution. Read this book, do this differently, try this habit. That's not control, that's guidance.
This is my advice on men that try to control you. They control their mind, they control everything else. If you think he love you, you're going to put everything into that man. But you got to know what kind of woman you will. Now, are you a weak woman, strong woman? A weak woman believe everything a man say and go along with it, and she sit there and wait. A strong woman with a strong mind, he got to show it. Don't just say it. He going to tell you some things to see how you take it, to see how you respond. Now, if you sit up there and get in love, fall in love so fast with him, a man can tell when a woman falls in love fast because she started doing everything for him fast. She started to prove her love so quickly. But a woman that don't fall in love fast, she waits. She see. She don't lay in that bed. No, you ain't coming over him. No. The more you reject what he wants, his flesh is going to tell if he's the right man or the wrong man. Because a man ain't going to be nowhere he can't control. If he can't get down there the same way he came in, he gonna leave the same way he came in, out that door. The truth hurt.
What's the difference between a man who has boundaries versus a man who's controlling? Welcome to the Daddy Academy. A lot of times, we tend to throw the word controlling on men. Okay, and I don't disagree. There's a lot of guys who are very controlling, but here's how to know the difference, okay? A boundary, a man telling you what his boundary is in some capacity, it should always feel like a collaborative conversation where he's focusing on his own feelings. Like, when you did this, or I expect this because it makes me feel like XYZ when my partner does that, or when you did that, okay? And it's looking to get on the same page, and it's a mature, grounded conversation. There could be some emotions involved, but for the most part, it's trying to get on the same page, okay? Controlling, a guy who's being controlling, that's like manipulation, right? So he's going to use like push-pull tactics or discard tactics and really intense words and energy to get you to comply to what he wants. Where a man with boundaries, a healthy masculine man with boundaries, is still ultimately going to give you the decision to do what you want to do. But if you keep going against his boundary, he's going to leave the relationship. Just like I would tell you ladies to leave the relationship with a man who doesn't respect your boundaries, right? So it's a lot of it is about the tone of the conversation, the tone of the words that he's using. Is it definitive and has a lot of toxic energy wrapped up in it? Or is it more collaborative and he's focused on his feelings and making sure that you understand his perspective and where he's coming from?
The difference between controlling and leadership in a relationship, controlling is like that boss you have that micromanages everything, that tells you what to do, how to do it exactly. Like there's no leeway. You got to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, you are fired. You're gone. You don't grow that way. There's no room for growth. Versus leadership, that boss that says, I want the end result to be like this, but I'm giving you leeway to figure it out how to get there. They might give you suggestions and you might follow it. You trust their leadership. You trust their judgment. Leaders inspire you to do better, whereas controllers just want to make you do what they want, and that's it. They don't really care about you being better, just listening to what they have to say and doing it. So some people think they're leading when they're actually controlling. And some ladies might think a man is controlling when he's actually just leading. If you have the capacity to say no to something he tells you to do, he's not controlling you. Clearly, you're having a choice. You just don't like him asking you to do anything. So that's my take. What do you guys think?
There's a difference, a huge difference between leadership and control in marriage. And many times a few people mix it up, where you're trying to lead. In your attempt to lead, what you're actually doing is you're controlling. And controlling is negative. The effect of control in marriage is negative. So you don't want to control, you want to lead. And to be quite frank, as a leader, you are leading by inspiration. You inspire your followers, your wife, your children. You inspire them by the things you do and the way you think to lead, to follow you. You have a clear vision, you are communicating your vision, you are directing, you are encouraging, you are supporting, and that's the way you get them to follow. You're giving an example, and that's how you get them to follow. So you don't control. Control means you're giving orders and you are forcing people to do stuff that they haven't bought into. So that's not what you want to do as a leader. When you control, you lose your followers, you lose their allegiance, you lose their love. So as men, let's realize that we lead, we don't control, and we make sure that we're not controlling, we're leading.
We really got to have a conversation about this. I heard a man say this, and if you're easily offended, you're not going to like what I have to say. Trigger warning. But I heard a man say on a podcast, he said, well, black women's biggest issue is that they say they want men's protection, but you can't protect what you can't control. And when I heard that, I was floored. I was like, that is the stupidest argument I have ever heard from a man about why he doesn't want to get married, why he doesn't want to deal with women. I mean, it's pure foolishness to me. Like, you do not have to control something in order to be willing to protect it, in order to be willing to risk your life, put your life on the line to protect your house, your wife, your children. You shouldn't have to seek control of something in order to risk or in order to grant it your protection. I thought you protected the things that you loved. But see, here's my thing. As I've gotten older and as I've listened to more podcasts, as I've listened to more men with microphones, because everybody don't need one. Everybody don't really have a podcast. Some of these people just are men with mics. The thing that I've learned is this. Black men have a need to control everything because they have misplaced manhood. They don't know what it is to be a man. Dr. King said in I believe it was 1967, in order for the Negro to be free, no president can do this for us. No Lincolnian or Johnsonian civil rights bill can do this for us. No Kennisonian or Johnsonian civil rights bill can do it. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do it. In order for the Negro to be free, he must move down deep into the inner resources of his own soul, and he must sign with pen and ink of self-asserted manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. The problem is many black men are physically free from chains, but are psychologically conditioned to pursue the white man's definition of manhood. And that's not how the game goes. That's not how the game goes. And I would actually even argue that they don't even know what type of manhood to pursue. Because I'll be honest with you, the most successful marriages in this country are still, or marriages with the lowest chance of divorce are when a black female is married to a white male. Period, point blank in the story. That's not me trying to be funny. That's not me advocating for interracial dating. That is simply me looking at the numbers and giving you the numbers as they freaking exist. So at some point, we got to wake up and realize, like, oh, damn, something has to change. And it needs to be quick, because if it's not quick, we're going to have a serious problem in this country. And I think that until black men come to themselves and realize that there's a lot about them, a lot about us as a culture that we have to change in order to give our women a better light to view us in, we're going to continue to have these same nonsensical, stupid-ass arguments. We're going to continue to have men with microphones on podcasts still trying to bash women. Meanwhile, other races are trying to get to the bag. We're over here trying to take down each other. Like, at some point, the foolishness just has to stop. You should not have to control something you're supposed to protect. You need.
Now, a question that women tend to ask a lot is, how can I tell the difference between a man that is protective and a man that is controlling? And it's a very clear differential, and I'm going to explain it in this video. So when a man meets a woman that he is very compatible with, and there's a deep level of soul connection there, the man essentially falls in love with the woman's authenticity, because the authenticity mirrors back to him that own internal sense of freedom that he is also seeking in relationship, and to be with somebody that allows him to be himself. So essentially that's what he's falling in love with. And that feeling then stems and activates the feeling of, I need to protect this woman in his body, because he's interested in her well-being and making sure that she is tended to in a way where she always feels as if she can be herself. So when a woman is with a man that allows her to be in her authenticity, he's naturally going to be attuned to her needs of well-being. So say, for example, he notices a pattern where, if she doesn't eat first thing in the morning, she's generally a little bit grumpy. He's not going to take that personally, but he will suggest, say, for example, should we get you something to eat, when he can see that she's irritable or she's not able to focus properly. There's nothing controlling about that behavior. It's being attuned to somebody in a way where you are helping them to thrive. And that's the main difference between a man that is invested in a woman because he actually cares about her deeply and is attracted to her authenticity, and a man that is only attracted to a woman from a position of self-interest. And it's always helpful to be aware of the fact that when anybody behaves in a controlling way, it always stems from some level of unconscious wounding or unreconciled issues, usually that's stemming from childhood. So when a man behaves in a way where he's trying to control a woman in order to adhere to certain standards, in order for him to express love, so this can often come in the form of, if she dresses in a certain way, then I will say undermining comments to her because I don't want her to dress that way. Or it will be, he'll only express love when she behaves in a certain way. The theme of the relationship is generally around limitation rather than freedom, because it will be condition-based love where you have to perform in a certain way in order to receive it. And that performance often comes with that feeling of internal restriction or fear, or of walking on eggshells, that it may stimulate some sort of negative response if you don't adhere to the way in which the man would like you to adhere. It's nothing to do with the unconscious well-being, because a man that is attuned to a woman's well-being would never want her to feel unsafe. And when you feel as if you can't be yourself in a relationship, it feels very confining and very restrictive, and naturally leans into that feeling of unsafety, because if you perform or do something outside of that person's expectation of you, naturally the safety within your own body also becomes compromised.
The difference between a man who's in control versus a man who's controlling. A man who is in control is grounded, he is direct, he's clear on his intentions, he is a leader, he can lead his woman and others around him, he's decisive, he knows where he's going in life, and is rooted in himself. He is in control of himself. His woman is able to trust him because he is her rock. He doesn't just get swept away by any inconvenience in his emotions. He is secure in himself. It's the quiet, humble power that exudes off of him. Whereas a man who is controlling is deeply insecure. It comes from a place of fear, and it's masked by this big ego and by strength and by self-worth. But it's the opposite. A man who's controlling is trying to enforce rules upon someone to keep them in this space where he feels good and he feels safe and it serves him. But a man who's in control has already communicated his boundaries clearly to his woman. He doesn't need to enforce rules. He allows her to be, to live, to go out and behave, and he observes. And if lines are crossed, if he's disrespected, if she's not loyal, he walks, because he has self-respect, because he holds integrity of his word so high. There's no fight, there's no yelling, there's no aggression, there's no need. There's no need to enforce rules upon anyone. He's in control of himself. There's a difference.
Why is it that men want to lead so bad? I want to keep it all the way a buck. Most men have a desire to lead a woman, not because he's capable or more wise. They want to lead because it makes them feel like a man. It makes them feel powerful, not responsible, not accountable, just that they are in control of someone. And they call it protection. When really it's just domination dressed up in soft words. Because if he can lead you, he can limit you. He can silence your voice and call it order. He can kill your dreams and say it's God's design and God's will, the truth. This obsession with leading is rooted in ego, fear, and conditioning. Not love, not partnership, and definitely not purpose. And if you haven't noticed, some men say they just want to lead and protect you. But the second you disagree with them, suddenly, you're being disrespectful. My love, that is not protection. That is control with a nice little bow on it. If his version of leadership means silencing your voice, questioning your instincts, or dimming your light, he's not trying to lead you. He is trying to contain you. He is trying to box you in, mold you, and shape you into what he wants you to be. For him, for his benefit. Not for you at all. He can care less about what you want or what you desire out of this life. It's all about him. That is, when you hear a man talking about being a leader and wanting a woman who's submissive, he's only saying that he wants a slave. He's only saying that he wants somebody who is shapeable and moldable and more malleable so that he can dominate and control her existence. So that she can be living for him. So that he is benefiting off of her energy. And so that he can have her underneath him. It's not about love with them. When it comes to men like this, it's not about love. It's not about protection. It's about pure control and dominance, which is why they like them young. Before that woman's prefrontal cortex is fully developed, they like them young. so that they can control you, so that they have the upper hand, so that they can so-called be the leaders over you. But don't let nobody play you like that. He wants to keep you in his box. He wants you to be in his world, and that ain't love. That is his insecurity, his ego, and his need for dominance. The number one threat to a man who wants to be this so-called leader is a woman who leads herself. You see, because when a woman leads herself, she's unbothered, she's unapologetic, she is uncontrolled, and that's exactly why this type of man will be afraid of that type of woman. You can't manipulate her with money. She can't be bought. You can't silence her with titles or a ring. You can't impress her with basic things. She's not looking for a savior because she already saved herself. And that's why weak men scramble to throw around the word submission, because the only way they feel strong is by shrinking her. There are many women who believe today that men are supposed to be the leaders. And you know why that is? Because they were taught that from birth, and they were raised to believe that love means following, and they were trained to be that sacrificial lamb. They were trained by the women around them that they saw that you're supposed to give up yourself for your family, for your man, that you are supposed to care and pour into everybody else, but not yourself. That's why they're still confused. That's why these women are conditioned to think that way, that men are supposed to be the leaders. They're simply still confused. They're simply still conditioned. They were taught that being chosen by a man is the highest honor. It's not that she's incapable of leading herself. It's that she was never shown another way. And that is not submission, my dear. That's conditioning. And you know what? A lot of women confuse comfort with safety. You see, they think a man leading means they'll finally feel secure or safe or protected. But let me ask you this. Is he actually leading or just controlling? Is he making space for your dreams or just making room for his own? Does he really care about you as an individual person? Or are you just there to benefit him? Does he care about your day in and day out? Does he care that you're also meeting your goals? Don't trade your power for his presence. You don't need to be led. What you need is respect. And let's keep it all the way 100. A lot of this men are supposed to be the leaders narrative comes from religious manipulation. You see, they use God's name to control women. They will twist the scriptures to keep you small and in a box. If your faith tells you to stay silent, sacrifice everything, and surrender your soul to a man just because he's a man, that ain't God. That's male supremacy in a suit and tie. And it's no different than how the slave masters conditioned the slaves to remain slaves and to not rise up and to not speak their truth or to not rebel against them. It's the same tactics that's being used today, but you are smarter than that. Know yourself, know your worth, rise up. Because to be completely honest, real leadership isn't about gender. It's about having wisdom, compassion, integrity, and a man isn't qualified to lead just because he's a man. And a woman isn't disqualified because she refuses to bow in love or in life or in partnership. See, no one should be on top. We should be walking side by side, not one leading, not one following. No, aligned and equal and both empowered. So don't fall for the hype. Do not be one of these women out here that's talking about that they need a leader or that they can't lead themselves. And don't allow no man to make you feel as though you need him in order to be prosperous, protected, or successful in this life, because that's a lie. Until next time, peace, blessings, love, and an abundance of power to you all. Bye.
There's a big difference between a man leading you and controlling you, because leadership is responsibility, controlling is insecurity. A leader says, I got this, I'll handle it, babe. He carries the weight, he protects her peace, he takes initiative. But a controlling man says, you need to do it my way, because he needs power to feel safe. By the way, in healthy partnerships, men and women take turns leading, depending on their area of expertise. But leadership looks like planning dates, following through on promises, staying calm during conflict, and making decisions while still asking for her input. But controlling men look like telling her what to wear, getting angry anytime she disagrees with you, monitoring her phone, and using religion to silence her. Remember that masculine presence is steady, but dominance is loud. Healthy masculine presence feels like calm strength in a room full of people, but unhealthy dominance feels like pressure to the woman. Because secure men don't need to overpower women. They don't need obedience to feel respected. And for the women who are healing from religious trauma, they can feel that instantly. You want to be a healthy leader because that builds trust, and control builds fear. So if she feels small around you, you're not a leader. But if she feels totally safe around you, you are a leader. Congratulations.
There is nothing more attractive than when a man is fully in his masculine energy. I love that my man leads. And when I say lead, I don't mean dominate or demand or control, but he is the decision maker. He is emotionally grounding. And more than anything, that allows me to be more in my feminine energy. It feels so freeing not having to carry everything all the time. I feel like after so many bad relationships, women, including myself, really had to take on a masculine role because we had to lead ourselves, provide for ourselves, protect ourselves, because all the men that we were with in the past couldn't step into that role and be a leader and a decision maker and a provider and a protector. So we had to do it for ourselves. But ladies, I promise when you find a man that can step into that masculine leadership role and really allows you to exhale, you are calmer, you are more stable, and you have more space to be in your feminine energy, which is the greatest blessing. I think for me, it feels so freeing to not be so frantic or anxious all the time. Before Cody, that's all I was just a ball of frantic, anxious energy. And allowing him to step into that role and for me to trust his decisions has allowed my brain to be able to just shut off and trust that he's got us, and it feels so amazing. After 5.5 years together, it just keeps getting better and better. So if I could give one piece of advice to my single ladies out there, is find a man who wants to step into that masculine leadership role. Number 2, allow him to do that. It is something I highly, highly, highly recommend.
So a couple weeks ago, I was talking to this guy, and we are talking about, like, what do you want out of a relationship? Like, what type of partner are you looking for? And one of the first things he mentioned is that he wants a woman who can be led. That's an orange flag for me. Not red, but it's orange. Because that automatically makes me think that you are a little misogynistic. Like, this random desire that you have to lead women is usually rooted in something deeper that I don't like. But whatever, I let it slide. I'm gonna give him a chance. So we get further along in the conversation. We start talking about careers and money and education, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, you know, the job that you work right now, I'm not gonna say, but the job that he works right now is very like a regular, normal job. And it's not what he went to school for, and he hates it, and he doesn't want to be there long term. So I'm like, if you could do anything, like, what would you be doing? What's your plan to get out of here and not be doing this for the rest of your life? And this man was like, I don't really know. He's like, I don't really have like a dream job or anything. I just know I want to make money. Let me get this straight. You want a relationship, and you want a relationship with someone who can be led somewhere, but you in your current position, you're not anywhere that anyone wants to be led to. Not only are you not in a position that someone needs to be led to, you don't even have a plan for how you're going to get out of that position. Not only do you not have a plan, you don't even have a vision. This man couldn't think of one thing that he like wanted to do outside of this. Knowing that you want to make more money is not enough. Everybody wants to make more money. But you over here talking about you want somebody to lead. Baby, that's the least of your problems. I think you need to be looking for someone to lead you. You need to be down at a community center or a church asking for mentorship before you ever think about leading a woman somewhere. And that's my problem with a lot of men that have this same idea of, I need a woman that's going to be submissive, I need somebody to lead, is that most of them who say that are not in a position that I need to be led to. That this would be a lateral move. You make like $40,000 a year. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, I don't need someone to lead me to that. Same thing with men who are so obsessed with talking about how I don't want a woman to go use me for my money, and you don't be making no real money. That's not a concern of yours. I just want y'all to be for real. Above all things, just be for real.
Control's not always like, you can't wear your hair like that, or you can't go there. Sometimes it is way more covert. It's called coercive control. I know this is kind of wild, but a really skilled abuser can control you with silence. So one example might be you're allowed to go see your friends, but when you do, you come home and you get the silent treatment. So now you're all destabilized and you want to earn back their affection, their attention. So you work to please them. You start maybe fawning over them a bit. You're trying to get back in their good graces. But ultimately what you're telling them is that you recognize you did something wrong and you're trying to earn your way back out of this punishment. Now, deep down, you're just feeling unworthy. You might even be confused. You feel absolutely insignificant. This kind of treatment destroys your self-esteem. But this whole thing, it is designed to keep you in this submissive position. You start to learn, you know what, when I go out with my friends, there's going to be a negative consequence. So you stop going. But if you call them controlling, he's going to say, what are you talking about? I let you go anywhere you want. You're allowed to go out with your friends. What do I do to stop you? And if you even have the wherewithal to understand this whole silent treatment that happens, if you even understand that, if you articulate it, they're going to deny it. he'll gaslight you. There's just this unspoken demand that you need to change your behavior. You need to do something different. You need to comply. You need to submit. Now, over time, this is going to condition you to prioritize their needs and to keep them happy. And we talk about this a lot in the Toxic Free Relationship Club, my community membership, where you get 24/7 support. The truth is, when you're coming out of a relationship like this, or you're in a relationship like this, you feel powerless. You often feel trapped, like nothing you ever do is good enough, like there's nothing you can do to make the relationship better, or if you're already out, to feel better, to feel like you are actually in control of yourself. Let me ask you something here. What if you could actually take that back? What if you could take back your power? Because one of the biggest shifts that I see is surrounding yourself with people who have been through it and who understand it. The second you don't have to start explaining to people what you've been through, why it worked on you, how come you didn't see it, the more you're able to let go of that, the more you step back into your own power and your own confidence. So I want you to join the Toxic Free Relationship Club. You've got expert coaching, you've got a community of people, 24/7, videos, trainings, resources, webinars, insightful questions, conversations, live interactive book clubs, and group coaching.
Many men want a submissive partner, a submissive wife, a submissive girlfriend, but they are controlling. How do you expect somebody that you are controlling to be submissive to you? Even in marriages, in relationships, nobody wants to be controlled. No one wants to be controlled. Where you show that you are a true leader, naturally submissive comes in. You don't control people and you expect them not to complain, especially in relationship. Many men are out there complaining that women don't want to be led, but what they are doing in that relationship is not leading. They are controlling their wife, their girlfriend in that relationship. They tend to instruct you on where to go, like just dictating for you, telling you what to do and what not to do. And when you refuse this, they begin to complain and tag you as the stubborn woman. That is controlling. You don't, a full adult, you don't instruct them on what to do and what not to do simply because according to you, you are married to the person or you are dating the person and all of that. So you've put the crown of a wife on her head and you expect her to follow and obey everything that you say. That is controlling, and which many women will not take. These modern days women, they will not take that. So before you complain that a woman does not obey you or she's not allowing you to lead, think carefully. Are you really leading or you are controlling her in that relationship? That is what you have to think. Maybe you have to do more research on the difference between leading and controlling so that you will know if what you are dishing out to her is leading or you are controlling her in that relationship. Drop your opinion at the comment section if you agree to all the points that the people here gave, or you don't also agree. Let me know at the comment section. Till I come your way again next time, guys. Remember, bless and bye.